Today we have a little bit of a bittersweet video to perform here. As you know, I've had this channel for almost 2 years. The channel itself existed way longer than that. However, I've always stayed away from really charismatic or too populist themes, like, for example, politics. I haven't shied away with controversies regarding Sony, Xbox, PC, stuff like that. But I've shied away a little bit from politics. And I think it's now time for me to stop doing that. As you might know, a lot of, you might hear my cat on the background, by the way. Work on the studio is drawn to a halt due to, well, I'm not going to be shy, lack of funding, because things here in Europe, especially in Portugal, are getting really dicey in terms of the inflation. So, bottom line is, I shied away from commenting politics regarding video games, but I can't do that anymore. We have too many nut jobs on the loose. For example, and I'm only going to do this video in English because it affects more America than Europe, but I will be doing a video like this next week concerning the concerns that are here in Europe, but I haven't had the time, unfortunately, to compile every bit of data that I wanted, and I didn't want to do that that video with uncompleted and unfact-checked information. So I'm doing this one because I already have a lot of information that was verified, and a lot of news outlets information that are considered correct. So, bottom line is, these last elections on the US could have affected very much so the video game industry. If there would to have existed the so-called red wave, yes, a lot of studios would have been forced out of the US and into Europe. Studios like Rockstar, studios like Ubisoft, studios like EA Games would have to really drop the US completely and come to Europe and establish their main studios here. Although Ubisoft is already here. Their main studios are here, but they would have had to drop the US completely. And this is because of what? A lot of candidates from the Republican side defended that there was too much violence on video games. Video games are too much, are too corruptive to young minds, and they should have devoted their energy instead of video games to religion, of all things. So it's exchanging something that in many cases develops your part of the brain in young children that concerns problem solving, into religion that usually, and we have 2,000 years of history, only creates more problems. Having faith is all fine and good, is wonderful. To have faith on the charismatic leader that gave his life for our sins, yes. Okay, it's completely legitimate. But flood young minds with folk tales that aren't verified, that concern the mystical, and that can result in the creation of multiple cults that would quite possibly result in violent actions toward minorities. To me, it's not good at all. Secondly, they claim that video games are too disruptive because they're too violent and they cause mass shootings. It is scientifically proven that it is the gun that kills people, not a person that kills the people. It's the blade that, when it's thrusted onto another human being, and there's my cat, is actually the one responsible for taking the life. I'm not disrespecting the victims or the aggressors. The aggressors have... Just a second. Out. Anyway, here's a note of humor on a very bleak discussion. All in all, people kill people as well, but the instruments that they use are in grand majority the responsible for the mass shootings on the US. If there was not readily available firearms, and she's stubborn, I'll give her that. If there isn't just a second. What are you doing? Yeah, meet my fans. Meet my fans. Anyways, sorry for that. But today I'm alone here on the house, on the studio itself, here on the premises, and I had to bring my cat. Anyways, what I wanted to emphasize is, if there wasn't available firearms, there would be less crimes like those. And I give you the example of Portugal. There was a guy that bought a crossbow, and he went onto the dark web claiming that he was going to do the first Portuguese mass shooting. He didn't have a firearm, he had a crossbow. And since that's considered an illegal weapon to own, if you don't have the legitimate official documentation that you're a hunter, he was easily catched. He had, of course, other weapons like lighter fluid that he wanted to make Molotov cocktails with him. Upon apprehending those items, the police determined that he would only blow himself up because he didn't have what was really necessary for a Molotov cocktail, which we can obtain in Portugal almost for free. However, he opted for lighter fluid, and lighter fluid is not ideal because it evaporates, creates gas, and it blows up. Anyways, he was caught way before he instrumentalized the attack, like a day before. A lot of students were saved. We found out everything about the plans because he wrote on the dark web exactly what he wanted to do. And they found a journal inside his home claiming what he wanted to do as well. I'm not sure that would have happened if he would have had an AK-47 or an AR rifle with him, it would have been simpler. It would have been cheaper, and it would have been really fast for him to act, and not as fast for our law enforcement to catch him. Bear in mind with that. Yes, he played video games. He instrumentalized a lot of the video game. I'm still getting updates about the video game world as we speak, because I can't turn off that eagle sound, because I really want to keep in touch what's going on right now, because it's an evolving situation. And we had Republican candidates wanting to really police for the government to take hold of the studios and to make more religious and kid-friendly video games. It would have ended the industry completely. It would be even worse than E.T. the Extraterrestrial back on Atari. It would have been apocalyptic for all the studios all over the world, because all of them would be affected. Anyway, how can kids that enjoy playing Call of Duty, Battlefield, voted Republican when their candidate defended that their way of entertainment should be cancelled, should not exist, and their way of entertainment should be go to the church and pray? Yeah. I can think of funnier things to do. Anyway, it would have been their choice, but while being interviewed, they said, yeah, I love to play video. We right now are on the verge, all over the world, for extreme right-wing nuts to take power. We have Silvio Berlusconi on Italy already wanting to cancel video games all over the place on Italy. Knowingly that almost $1 billion industry in Italy would have been affected, which is distribution, publicity, and the video game purchases themselves. They really don't have studios there. They have indie studios at best. But they have a couple of studios that open there from Ubisoft, but they're minor studios concerning the really main ones. But that being said, which is really serious, is that in France we also have the right wing growing. Here in Portugal we didn't have an extreme right wing political party with representation on our assembly for almost 50 years, since the end of the dictatorship. And right now we have it's a political party called Chega, which it's right-wing nut jobs that want to expel from Portugal every gypsy family, and of course then they would turn to the African people, to Indian people, to Brazilians, everything. And Brazilians would have affected me. I'm not Brazilian, but my wife is. So all in all, the extreme right, I'm going to make my political view known right now, which is I hate extremes, that being extreme right and extreme left. I'm a moderate. I think that talking between left and right, great ideas can come. But extreme right refuses to talk to anything left, and extreme left wants to, bottom line, eradicate extreme right by any means necessary, even lies. Um, the, being that the fact that the extreme right are expert liars. They lie their asses off all day. And right now, they're claiming victory on the US, but there was really not a victory. It was almost a technical tie. And that... she's abusing. She's abusing. She knows she wants to be on video. They want complete power, complete control to run your lives. And sooner or later it's going to affect you negatively. Then what? You lost already your freedoms. Think about it. Moderation in politics is a key word on days to come. I'll support right or left as long as they have good ideas for the country. I will never ever support extreme left with the Communist Party and extreme and other parties that are like the Communist Party's younger children, and the extreme left, which is Nazism, Trumpism, and because it is a word, Trumpism. Trumpism is right there next to Hitler, right next to Nazism. They're identical right now. They're on top of each other. They were both a cult. Nazis had to go through, at the end of the Second World War, with a period of denazification. And I think the US is going to have a period of de-Trumpism. But when is that going to happen? When he's in jail. Because there are overwhelmingly a lot of evidence that he committed multiple crimes of different nature of crimes. And yet, Democrats are taking their sweet time to act. Just act. Put him in jail. Take away his voice. Put their kids in jail because they were in on it. Well, except not potentially Barron Trump. He was a minor. But all in all, guys, the Democrat Party on the US right now is the only solution for you guys to keep your freedom, to keep your democracy. Without it, you're going to lose your freedoms. You're going to lose your voice. Because it's only going to be, dear boss man, dear Mr. President Dictator, his voice and his voice alone. And in the moment that you want your voice to be heard, straight to Guantanamo Bay you're going to go, for sure. And there they're going to torture you, and here's my cat wanting to leave the studio. I'm going to end the video right now. Make up your minds, guys. Please safeguard your freedoms. Please safeguard the freedoms that we have on the entertainment world, that being movies, TV series, video games, theaters, Broadway, whatever. We have freedoms to institute plays that have a political, critical political view. And if Donald Trump reaches power again, aided by the nut jobs that he wanted to elect right now, you're going to lose everything. And that's what he wants. He wants the US to be a quiet state like North Korea. Almost a blank spot on the map where everything there remains. And the world would lose a lot of talent, a lot of hope, if that happens. So, I leave you with these thoughts, guys. Right now, I'm supporting whatever have good ideas for my country, which are the moderate sides of the assembly. that being the party called PS or PSD, which is left and right. But in really important matters, they speak to each other. They try to gain the support from each other and modify ideas and put them a little bit better with the help of left and right's point of view. Extremism will never do that. It's my way or the highway, and if it is the highway, it's over. So, guys, please keep in touch with the political aspects on your life. If you're a teenager, yeah, you can ignore this video. But if you're a young adult already on voting age, vote. But vote with the conscience that your freedoms can be altered or cancelled in a heartbeat. So, guys, I'm sorry about my cat again, but she's very photogenic, by the way. I'll see you all next week. Play on.